And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glasser coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast, but also as well Game Source and Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Of course, also as well, LakersBall.com. Hopefully Joe Soro will stop by, but if he hasn't, or if he doesn't, or if he isn't, he's going to also go ahead and tell you why the Lakers are looking forward to that opening night matchup against the Nuggets right there for you at LakersBall.com. It's Ox1947. Plus, he has a company that he works hard for each and every day that he owns. It's called Simblades. Simblades with the Y.com. Also, as well, our good friends, Jamie Sweet, who's camping. Don't, don't, don't get eaten by that cocaine bear while you're out there, my friend. He's out there camping, but hopefully I can still arrange a Lakerholic Summit, a Lakerholic Spotlight with Laker Tom this weekend. We'll go ahead and talk some Lakers. Hopefully everything goes well. And in the meantime, you can go ahead and check out the latest article and latest comments Laker Tom is talking about. And still wants those two bigs. Just seems to forget about that LeBron James at the power forward spot, having to play the power forward spot. But hey, he's still advocating for the two bigs, and he'll tell you why at Lakerholics.com. Plus, our good friend John McCalian, he had a great stream yesterday, and he also has some great stuff happening each and every day, each and every time out, each and every stream out, as he continues his determining videos and determining, as far as where he wants to go with losing weight. He's still on the road to losing, I think he said 130 pounds total, I think. Yeah, 50 down, 80 to go. So yes, go ahead and check out what he's talking about besides weight loss right there for you at the John McCalian channel. And while you're on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that little subscribe. Click on that, Joe. We need 40 more, 60 more clicks. 60 more clicks on the BDI Joe right below Sean, right there for you. Go ahead and click on today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break, including checking out us, including our great episode that Magic Man and Joe fronted yesterday. They did a great job with Wes from Peachtree Hoops. Go ahead and check out their awesome conversation in regards to the Atlanta Hawks and our already number of team previews. We've got more on the way coming up next week, so we're looking forward to going ahead and talking to people all around the country in regards to what they see as far as the NBA right here. But you only know about this by getting the latest notifications by subscribing today to the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Great to have everyone here. Intel Wild. Did someone say a snack pack? Absolutely. Ready to go ahead and get it out of the pantry. Go ahead and do some munching right here on, of course, the Lakers snack pack indeed. I want to go ahead and make sure everybody knows that we are now live once again at the Lakers Fast Break, but we were notified earlier today that we unfortunately, our guest for today's show, Jennifer Lewis, has to come on next week. So she's going to come on this time next week. She's going to be talking about the Charlotte Hornets. Something came up, so I said, absolutely. We got plenty of things to talk about right here at the Lakers Fast Break, including what Shams Charania just dropped earlier today, getting the lead ahead of Adrian Wojnarowski on this one. Sorry, Woj, but Shams got it in regards to what's coming up for opening night in the NBA. And wouldn't you know, what a surprise, what a shock. The Lakers are on having a tilt on opening night at Denver. They get the pleasure, and I use that term very loosely, of watching Denver Nuggets get their championship rings on ring night. And we're going to be oh so thrilled about that part. But will we serve that as motivation to not only beat the Denver Nuggets in the opening night, but also for the rest of the season? We'll talk about that on the show. Phoenix Suns also play the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center also that night as well. So there you go, opening night schedule, which we'll talk about on today's show. But first up, good man indeed. He is the madman from Toronto. He just did get out of Toronto traffic to talk opening night in the NBA. We didn't get a full slate. We didn't even get a partial slate. We got 2 games, but hey, we'll talk about that. Good man indeed. He is, of course, the guy who you should check out yesterday's show as he did a great job hosting in his great conversation along with Joe Sorrell with Wes Jordan of Peachtree Hoops. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, always great to have you here. Again, appreciate it. I was on the road driving 70, 80 miles an hour, trying to go ahead at the same time and answering the chat and watched the whole thing. You guys did an incredible job. But now it's on back to the Lakers once again, my friend.
Absolutely, Gerald. And now we know opening night we're going to be trolled again by another franchise. It wasn't enough that Golden State, like, we weren't even in the playoffs in the conversation at all during that run, and somehow they decide they're going to troll us on the schedule, and now Denver does the same thing. I mean, it
Let
just
me ask you
magic.
this,
It's
though.
just surprising how all this happens. It's hilarious to me at this point, though.
At my advanced age, I don't remember things quite as well, quite as often. But did the Lakers in the opening game schedule for the 2021 season, which of course, they had to write that away because 2019, 22, 20 was delayed because of the coronavirus. They had to go ahead and get the Lakers their championship and then rush into the next season. Did they start off the season playing against the Denver Nuggets, hosting the Denver Nuggets on their own ring night? If
No,
my
if I'm not mistaken, 2021 we played the Warriors.
hmm, funny
Yeah.
how that happens. Yeah, so
Mm.
they get to troll us. It also gives a very high likelihood of Malone again trying to troll us, even though we, as the better team in the 2020, demolished them in the Western Conference Finals and it chose a higher path per se, shows a lot classier way of dealing with things. And we were given the same opportunity to troll them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Gerald. We had every opportunity to do it, and the guys decided against it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like when they say when people say punch low and then go high. So when they punch low, go high. That's kind of what the Lakers did in 2020 with Michael Malone, and it's kind of funny. The opening night banner can kind of be a cloud, so to speak, over that game. You kind of get distracted, kind of takes you out of your rhythm, Gerald. It wouldn't shock me at all if LeBron and AD decided that we're going to send a message in game one.
I would be great to be sending a message because it's all about sending messages, especially on that night. So the question I have for you first off, and once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you being here. Big shout out to Keenan on Facebook. Also, as well, everybody in the best Lakers chat room that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Wanted to go ahead and ask you your thoughts on this. So we are being sent to Denver the first night. Now, mind you, we'll come in a little bit rested because the Lakers will probably not have played, at least the starters and key players probably not have played too much in the exhibition season, especially LeBron. You just want to get him ready. You don't want to have him overwork himself or anything like that. AD, the same thing. So the Lakers should come in relatively rested. They should get an extra day or two to be able to fly to Denver, to be able to go ahead and make the game. So they should be about as fresh as you can be heading into a regular season game. So that's a plus. Also, as well, the fact that the Lakers will have the motivation sitting there for 20 minutes while the other team gets their rings will also be a lot of motivation going forward. So, what do you think as far as that's concerned? Do you think the Lakers can use those two things to their advantage come opening night, Sean?
I definitely think so, Gerald. Because just checking things out right now, um, they don't travel at all, really, during the preseason, and their last game is in Palm Springs, October 19th. So it wouldn't
Mhm.
shock me at all if they went to Denver ahead of schedule to a day ahead, so to speak, to get their legs ready. Because I think a message is coming. Like I really do. I think Michael Malone brought this on himself
Mhm.
um, with his look, taking nothing away from the man and the coach, but his attitude
Well, yeah,
needs
they won.
serious
Let's give them their
checking.
props. They won. They deserve to win. I'm not disputing that. They don't win with class, obviously, with Bruce Brown, the way he was mouthing off at everyone. Now, it wasn't at Dylan Brooks level, mind you, but it was still a little
No.
bit of mouthing off.
Hmm.
But they backed it up. They talked the talk and they walked the walk. I'll give them credit on that. But the less than classy way that Malone went about his business, as opposed to how the Lakers did it in 2020, that kind of irks you a little bit as a Lakers fan. But again, the Lakers can use that for message boarding. And again, like you said, talk about using that as motivation for them to go ahead and at least come out of the gate very strong, which I'll elaborate more with Joe here in a minute. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Gerald. Because as we've seen before, if somebody really wants to clap at LeBron like this, he will clap back. It's just he won't. You don't know where or when it's coming from, but he will clap back. And so uh, the shots were fired first by Malone, and so now it's LeBron who's answering him. And let's not forget, Gerald, Darvin Ham really 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 wants to stick it to this guy. He said this blank ain't over with him. So this is opening night, and they're gonna ask him about it, and probably gonna say the same thing or something along the same lines. But I just think steam locomotive is coming in that game.
Absolutely. I think retribution may be coming if we're there. Actually, the Lakers should not lack for motivation, and we'll just go ahead and leave it at that. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is, of course, Magic Man Sean Rice and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Right here, we're talking about Lakers opening night being announced on the road at Denver. Also here today, good man indeed. Again, like I said earlier, please check him out as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And of course, he has a great company if you're in the Southern California area that you need to help him out on. You need a transformation with your lawn, and you can do that today at Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Great work last night working with Wes Morton on the Petrie Hoops about the Atlanta Hawks and the great questions that you had there. But the tide turns now to opening night with the Lakers being announced on the road at Denver. I said that if it's a good any time in the regular season, you would have to play the Denver Nuggets. I would think now at the beginning, it's one of the best times to play the Denver Nuggets is opening night.
It's been 10 years, I should say, yeah, 10 years, 10 seasons since the Lakers have won an opening night game. And it was an opening night game they should have lost. It was against the Clippers. It was in 2013, 2014.
Mhm.
Since then, they've lost every single opening night game, and a lot of those to the Clippers. I was expecting another rematch with the Clippers and hoping that we could finally get that figured out. Playing Denver, I'm not. Mike Malone is nothing to me, at least to me. Him talking is not a surprise because he was upset that he was beating the Lakers, yet they kept talking about the Lakers. And I think Mike Malone forgot that a one hit wonder doesn't mean anything in the NBA. The LA Lakers are the alpha and the omega because they have 17 of what you got. So until you get to that area, which ain't going to be in our lifetime, then you can talk. If you were a Celtics fan, you could have some merit there, maybe even the Warriors to some extent. But this is the LA Lakers. You're the Denver Nuggets. You got the perfect storm. Okay, you had the perfect season, no injuries to anybody, the perfect depth, the perfect player that did what he was supposed to do, and all that. But if you really, really want to show me how good you are, do it again. And I'm not, I don't see what I used to see in the past, even though we did see a little bit of it with the Memphis thing, with Dylan Brooks mouthing off, and the Lakers kind of putting their foot in it. But uh, game one of a NBA season is just not going to do anything for me. I'm waiting for the playoff run to talk smack, and this does put a little juice into some things so that we can hopefully see a rematch. But I don't know if that's going to happen at this moment. I'd have to see how the year plays out, because Denver looks awfully like the Dallas Mavericks of 2011. I just don't see them being a contender uh, in terms of winning championships, multiple championships. I see them as a one-hit wonder. And with Phoenix upgrading the way they have, with LA barring any injury becoming a threat, it's going to be much more difficult for them to repeat what they were doing, due to the fact that I think their team isn't really constructed to be those guys that are like, let's go get another one. I just don't see them mentally being that. I think they look like guys that'll be comfortable. And I got that not just from Mike Malone. I got that generally from Jokic. Jokic doesn't look like he's one of those guys that really is about that. And that might be a good thing. You know, maybe he stays steady. Maybe he's able to balance things out. But the NBA's had no repeat champions for a while now, almost half a decade. And I think it's going to continue. And whether Darvin Ham or Mike Malone are going to be mouthing back and forth to each other, those guys can do all they want. Unfortunately, they're not the ones playing. They're going to need LeBron and AD to back them up, or Jokic and the crew there to back them up or back him up. And I don't know. I just don't see the romance yet. I'm going to have to wait for it to play out a little bit.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell, Magic Man Sean Grice, and myself, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We are talking opening night, where it's been announced that the Lakers will be on the road watching ring night for the Denver Nuggets as they face off in Denver against the Nuggets. Plus also as well, Phoenix goes to the Chase Center to face off against Golden State. But Joe, to me, it's not just about finding the motivation, which is going to be like a low-hanging fruit against the Nuggets after what has been said and done. For me, it's also about avoiding a bad start. And you, Sean, and we had to go through the misery of a 2-10 start, which we thought was the apocalypse hitting us. We thought it was really bad. And speaking of apocalypse, I should have taken a moment to go ahead and say our thoughts from the Lakers Fast Break community, because I know there's been people in Hawaii. I've actually broadcasted from Hawaii. Our thoughts are with the folks in Maui and Lahaina that have suffered the great tragedy of the great fires that have been there. I've been to Lahaina on more than one occasion. It's so beautiful out there and so historic, that area that has been burned down to the ground. And our thoughts are with those people and those families that have suffered through the tragedy. So much love to you, Shaka Bra. But getting back to the show, I wanted to go ahead and ask you this, my friend. How important is it for the Lakers to take that momentum if they win and use that to go ahead and have a much better start to this season?
They're going to have a better start this season than last season. There is no doubt. Their team is constructed to play an 82-game season with balance. Where it can go wrong is if LeBron sprays an ankle in the first quarter, or if AD sprains a knee in the game and then they're out for, he's out for a month. That would be the only way. Injuries are the only thing that's going to keep this team from being a consistent player. There's too much talent too much youth on this team that balances really well with AD and LeBron's game. So it's going to come down to the health of the two stars. It's just, that's all it is. How things play out, let's say the first 10 games this year, if I had to make a prediction, I feel very strong that it'll be something like 6-4 at the worst, 7-3 at the best. And that's a pretty good start for a team that's fresh, somewhat gonna be new. I'd say new to training camp, new to starting the season together with a couple of the additions that they've had. But we've seen LeBron James adapt very well to new talent. That's probably next to probably Magic Johnson, which I didn't get a chance to see, and I don't think we ever really did see it too much because he had consistent rosters throughout his career. LeBron is the greatest player to ever adapt in an instant in terms of star. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that he is a distributor first, team first organizer. And when I say that, guys, the reason why I say it in that way is I know that LeBron has a selfish thing, which all great stars have. And I think people forget that. Even though he is a giving type guy, even though Magic was a giving type guy, those guys still are very selfish. If you don't believe me, ask Paul Westhead in 1982. You have to be selfish to be great, folks, but it's how you're selfish and does it result in championships? And then at that point, you can't really say anything. So all this stuff that's going on with Pippen and Jordan and all this and how Jordan was selfish. Well, 6-0 in the finals, you can't beat that argument ever. You can tell people that he was a heathen, but it's 6-0. So the Lakers are in a position here to make one more run. Hopefully there's a trade or an acquisition between now and the deadline that can help add a little bit more firepower before the end of the year to go into the playoffs. And really my focus is there. I really am focused. I am not focused on the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets opening game is good for the NBA. That's why they did it. And obviously we'll be watching it, critiquing it, and it will still be some kind of a stepping stone to what we hope will be a positive season. I will say this in terms of positivity. It's nice to finally start or play a game in Denver in the regular season that's not on a freaking back-to-back. So, we get one Denver trip out of our way that isn't a back-to-back. So we have maybe a good chance at winning in Denver here opening the season.
There you go. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate Joe Soro and Magic Man Sean Grice for what they did on yesterday's broadcast. Please go ahead and check it out. It is an Atlanta Hawks team preview. Very good one with those two guys. But Sean, getting back to you, my friend, I think for me, it's a little bit more of a tone center and a message sending game as far as that's concerned, especially like you said, with the motivation that they should have, not only with the fact that they have to sit there for 20 minutes on ring night, but also as well, like Joe said, they haven't won an opener in 10 years. And you have those really uncalled for comments by Michael Malone, aka Call him Mike. Your thoughts on this, my friend? I really think it could be a tone center to how well they start off. I'm not asking for the Lakers to go ahead and win 60 games. That would be great if they did. But at least they could go ahead and do much better than a 2-10 season. I think that's a step in the right direction for a good season for the team.
Did some quick math while you and Joe were talking. I was also paying attention to the conversation. So, like, Joe's comments, very, very just to the bone. Like, it's a mix of vets and youth. They have an opportunity here with the balance that they have with their depth to be very formidable. I just look back, Gerald, looking back at the 2020 championship year, In the first 30 games, the Lakers had 3 winning streaks of 7 or more. They started out the season 24-3. I remember the 97-98 team started out of the gate quick as well. I think they were like 10-1, 11-1. So there's an opportunity here if it really starts to click. Like I agree with Joe. I would say realistically, the first 10 games are like 6-4. Like I was thinking the same thing. 7-3 at the best, probably, like he was saying. However, if it really starts to click early on, usually with Laker teams, when it starts to click early on, it portends to something greater later on. So we're going to see if they hit the ground running, Gerald. Like Joe was saying, it might cause Pelinka to make a move.
Yes, that's true. But the thing is, Magic Man, I'll hit it back to Joe. As he indicated as well, Joe's looking for a trade at the trade deadline. I think with all the great assets the Lakers now have, because of the fact that they have so many tradable contracts that are right in there. Kevin Garnett's comments, how there's nothing in the mid-level. It's either at the high end or the low end. The Lakers, who
did we not say that? Did we not say that a few weeks ago?
Yeah, but the Lakers, who at one time, Joe, not too long ago, had nothing in the middle, now have a lot in the middle to go ahead and choose from. So it's very advantageous that once again, the Lakers could go ahead, if they just have a good season, that they can just get that winning piece or pieces at the trade deadline.
And the reason why they do is because most of these contracts were done before the current setup and the current inflation of the contracts. Mm-hmm. So we're going to expect the next 2-3 seasons, you're going to have to make a decision. The NBA is going to have to make a decision, and I want you guys to get ready for it, because all the whining, crying little Ben Simmonses are going to come out of the gate with, wait a minute, just like the running backs in the NFL. They're going to come back, and they're going to start crying. Oh, wait a minute. How come all the money's going to Giannis' extension, and you're still giving Damian Lillard $60 million a year? How about us? We're getting $3 million minimums or $10 million minimums. Well, folks, that's what happens when you don't negotiate the CBA for more than 14 minutes before you agree. So I don't want to hear any whining, any crying. I know it's coming, but I think we're going to be the first people there if we have a larger forum, which I believe we'll have in 2 years, where we're going to have to virtually slap these guys in the face and say, next time, talk to your representative. Her name is Michelle Roberts. If you have a problem, there's a reason why you have a representative. And if you don't talk to your representative, then it's on you. You can live with $10 million a year then. I know I could.
Absolutely. So Joe was very astute, and I just got the tweet myself. And once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you just going ahead and catching us, whether you're watching or listening. It is immensely appreciated.
By the way, I'm not with the owners. That sounds like an owner. They always that. Everything's always pitting between the two sides, right? I'm not in support of either one. I think both.
Yeah, it sounded like a little bit like there. So you're just trying to clarify.
I am not in support of anything ownership, because I don't care about that duality. This constant duality that society likes to throw people at. No, I'm not cheering for the owners. The owners are just the reason why we're in this predicament is because of owners, because they don't know how to pay people the right way. Either they don't pay anybody or they pay too much and they screw up the market. So, but you as the player, right? This is a players' league, and this is before any of the stuff that's happened in the last 5 years. The league has always been a players' league because there's only a few players that can really change things. It's 5 guys on the court, not 11, not 9, not 12. It's 5. So you have one of those guys for every 10 teams that actually can ascend a team. It's a players' league. They dominate. But I don't want to hear complaining about not getting paid enough because all the money's going to go up to the big stars now because you guys can't make a good agreement. It's your fault. And I want on August 10th, 2023, I want this thing stamped online so that if anybody needed a receipt, they'll know that we were talking about this before everybody started supporting people and putting signs in their yard with, I support this, while I'm doing this on the side.
Well, again, Joe's clarified that in the only way he can.
I try to keep it off air a little bit. Sean got it pretty quick. I'm glad he did.
Magic Man, I do. Yes. Oh, that's when Nico. Yes, Joe's rant did come early. Yes, there you go. But speaking of coming early for
it was
Christmas,
brilliant that you brought up the Kevin Garnett thing. I just gotta.
Yeah, well, that's what it reminded me.
That was a great assist because I've been wanting to talk about it, and
I mean, he was talking about that, and he's right. That's the way the CBA, and you've talked about how the way that's the way the CBA is incentivized or currently set up and doing. But the Lakers have managed a way around that, and I'm going to give Rob Pelinka some credit. We always talk about how bad he did, and we were on his case every single day. We are going to talk about when he does something right, and that's the fact that he's got a lot of tradable assets now. He did luck out on the Austin Reeves deal. I heard James Edwards, who covers the Detroit Pistons for the Athletics, saying he was bummed that that Austin Reeves didn't get more. I'm not bummed that Austin Reeves didn't get more because it just makes the Lakers' salaries a little bit more palpable, more tradable.
We overvalue our players. This is not something new. Lakers fans and then the media will jump on it because they want to jack the Lakers.
Yeah.
It was never true. It was never like we had this thought in our head that Popovich was thinking about the Lakers, right? And how he was going to go. I even said it. Oh, he's going to go and drop 25 mil to force the Lakers' hand. That's bull crap. Popovich doesn't give a two craps about the Lakers and what they're doing. And I don't think either the other teams either do either. So it's like, we need to stop overvaluing these. Look, Austin Reeves got a lot of potential to being a very, very good player. But to pay him more than 14 mil when the dust settles, it's kind of, asinine considering where he came from. I think that's a hell of a raise. I think that's his market. And the market said it was. We overvalued the market because we were afraid to lose him. But 14 million is who he is. I absolutely agree with it, and it came out the right way. And Rui was a little bit of an overpay, but that happens almost at least once on the roster. An overpay always has to happen at least once. We've always had that. It's only going to be an overpay, though. Right now, it's an overpay on paper and what he's kind of given. But if he comes out and he plays his 2 out of the 3 nights a week like he did in the playoffs, then the Lakers are in very good shape.
So one thing I ask you there, Magic, and once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us and watching and listening, is the news that has come out during our broadcast. Of course, we talked about opening night. I still want to talk about the other matchup before we head on out, and all the other matchups we're going to talk about here eventually at the back end. But the Christmas Day slate has been also announced, again, by Shams Charania, so I will give him credit for that. I will ask you this, though. The slate has, for the Lakers, I don't know if it's not the 12:30 game. It's the 3:30 game, or is it? It's not the 5 o'clock game.
And if it's not 5 and it's not
Pacific time is what I'm saying. It's like mid-afternoon, seemingly, because it's the game in the middle. I forget what time that is, to be honest.
Well, there are 4 games now. There's one at noon,
5.
one at 3:30, one at 5.
There's 5 games. There's 5 games.
Yeah, so, one at like 8 or 9, and then
I'm going to give the slate here in a little bit, but it's the Celtics and the Lakers are the middle game in this as far as this slate is concerned. So the Celtics come into La La Land to go ahead and face off against the Lakers. So I ask you, my friend, your thoughts on this, that the Celtics will be on the road. They'll probably be in the middle of a road trip as they come into the Lakers. They might be a little tired, might be a little winded. already ticked off that they have to go ahead and not be around their families around the Christmas tree. But for once, the Lakers will be home, be able to go ahead and share Christmas with their families on Christmas Day. Your thoughts about the Celtics coming into the crypt on Christmas?
Yes, well, now that we finally know who the opponent is, I think it's a very fortuitous sign, Gerald, and let me tell you why. I'm a cigar smoker, and I've been saving a really nice cigar for Christmas, and now that I know who the opponent is, um, I think we're going to shred them a new one. And I think that that CAO Flathead will be the best cigar I've ever smoked since the birth of my nephew, and I expect pure
Is it
domination.
illegal contraband? Is it from? Do we still
No,
have like?
we don't have an embargo. I can
Okay,
smoke
I don't know if
Cubans all
Cuban
day.
cigars are still persona non grata or not. I don't know if that's still a thing where there's when they
I
would.
thought you guys had that opportunity to smoke them for a
I think
period
so.
of time.
Again, I'm not a cigar aficionado, so that's why I'm asking. I know at one time they were you can't have them and they were smuggled in. So Joe, or Cuban cigars are okay now, right?
They
Or
are to some degree. I guess there's a supply you can get, but it's a cap.
yes.
Yeah.
Like a
Okay.
box, like 10 boxes.
Something like that. Yeah. I actually asked this question a few weeks ago. Yeah. I don't even know why why that would matter.
What the hell difference does it make? I'm the one smoking them.
I'm just that's what again. I only know of the most popular ones, but I always know that there was issue as regards to Cuban cigars. So, yeah, I mean, that's just what I was, coming up. That's what I always knew, but I wasn't sure if it was still a thing because it's relaxed a little bit, as far as the amount of stuff which you can get from Cuba. So there you go. But back to what you were saying, my friend. Again, having the Celtics coming into the crypt, I really think that we can go ahead and see a nice little victory. Again, if the Lakers all works well, you're going to get off to a good start. By the time Christmas comes around, hopefully they will not have played that extra game here in Las Vegas. As much as I would love to see them here in Las Vegas, I would rather not have them go ahead and play that extra game. That will hopefully mean that the Lakers will have a nice Christmas homecoming on Christmas.
Absolutely, absolutely, Gerald. And by that time, this idiotic little season in tournament will be over. It'll be in the rearview mirror. Um, at that point in time, you're about 6 weeks outside of the All-Star break, so that's really when the true evaluation happens. And Rob either decides that he needs to shoot for something bigger, or I mean, we're just like Joe said, that with the depth and the balance, that possibly they glide to 50 wins, Gerald. But I mean, it's all health dependent. I think if somehow, Gerald, I think if you get above average games played from either LeBron or AD, that that could make a difference between 2 or 3 wins, and whether or not you have 46 or whether or not you have 50.
Oh, I
So
agree. I agree. I mean, it is the health of LeBron and AD. I mean, if we get 65 games from them, from both of them, then that puts us in a very good situation. I know somebody in the chat early on was commenting about who here in the chat thinks that LeBron is going to be playing less than 25 minutes a game. And I'm like, there's no scenario I do not see LeBron playing more than 25 minutes a game. I think it's a no doubter. I think the thing is, as Joe says, will he play over 30 minutes a game? And if so, how much? I think that's the question we should be asking ourselves instead of 25 minutes. It's talking about 30 minutes a game for, that's the big deal to me.
You would need AD playing probably 38 to 40 minutes a game to have any shot at LeBron playing 25 minutes a game. he would have to be essentially Shaq in 2000, where Shaq was playing.
Or the Lakers will have to have a double-digit, points differential where they're basically just routing teams all the time.
It's hard. We talked about this all last year. It's impossible, it seems, to have that. So where players we used to get rest was that fourth quarter. Good teams, right? The teams that were winning in the high 50s, 60s in terms of wins during the year, they were getting that break probably 15 games out of the year where they didn't play that fourth quarter. That's a big number, right? So if you, 4 times 15, that's practically what? 5 games. 5 games not playing, just by not playing a fourth quarter. And then let's say if you missed another 5 to 10 games, now you're not playing, let's say 10 to 15 games, but you're still playing, right? You're still available. You're still helping your team win during those games. We've lost that because the pace dictates scoring. So when you do go into the fourth quarter with a 20-point lead, in the first 3-4 minutes of that fourth quarter, we've seen how that lead can go from 20 to 10 right away. And then right away, the game plan is, oh, shoot, we got to put back the starters. Funny enough, in the playoffs, I think from my memory was the first time I saw LeBron and AD sit an entire fourth quarter in that 40-point win against Memphis. That was the first time I had remembered. I think they might have had one during the regular season, but I don't remember, even though I watched almost all of them. I just don't remember. But that was the first one where I could vividly remember it, where they sat the whole fourth. And I just don't know if the Lakers would have to shoot lights out the whole year, I think, with the new guys. If those guys are shooting, if we're one of the top, let's say 5 3-point shooters in the league, there's a chance that we could do it. But
to go from 27 to 5, you realize we were 27 last year.
What it would take. It's just take.
That would be almost an unheard of rise in 3-point percentage, but we're hopefully going to go ahead and get even in the top 15. If we get in the top half, I think that's a huge, huge plus for us here as a team. And I think it helps us out if we continue to go ahead, keep the pace high, go ahead and make sure we go and get to the line a lot and make sure we continue to play the way that got us successful and got us into the playoffs in the first place. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is truly appreciated that you're joining us. We're talking, of course, the opening night schedule with the Lakers at Denver, and also as well that popped up during the course of the show by Shams Charania. The Lakers on Christmas Day hosting the Boston Celtics. Great matchups indeed. But before we head on out, guys, I want to go ahead and mention the other games on the slate for both opening night and Christmas night. Magic Man, I'll start with you first. Opening night, you have the Phoenix Suns and their revamped roster, and they're just basically the CBA busting Suns with their 4 if you consider DeAndre Ayton's a max, 4 max players and a whole bunch of minimums playing against the Golden State Warriors, who I think are, they're going to try to go ahead and be what they once were, but I think that's the end is near for them because signs are saying that they're not able to go ahead. They're looking for a rebound, and I'm not sure they're going to get it because of the deficiencies they still have on the roster. But your thoughts, my friend? It is a home game for them, and they do play well. Even though I think Phoenix will end up having a better season during the regular season than Golden State Warriors, there's a good chance Golden State will just win because it's opening night in their home arena.
Yeah, absolutely, Gerald. Yeah, that first night it's going to be the 4 top Suns and the Bearman Orchestra for the Phoenix Suns. It's going to be a really strange team over 82 games. How it's going to be arranged, and Gerald, especially with Frank Vogel, we know how Steve Kerr is as much a tactical head coach as Vogel is, so I'm sure Kerr will try and exploit this diffusion in talent that the Suns have. And yeah, I think you're right. I think ultimately the Warriors win the battle there. Phoenix probably ends up winning the war over the season, winning more games. But I think you're right, Gerald.
Joe, your thoughts opening night. Again, I think it's a good game to go ahead and observe because it's strange how the Western Conference it solidifies what you continually talk about how the East is the least when considering the fact that opening night has all of the top perspective for NBA teams in the Western Conference. It seemingly has a shift in the Western Conference. It seemingly is just promoting the Western Conference. If I was an Eastern Conference team or an Eastern Conference fan, I'd kind of be irked by that.
You're irked by what?
No, I said if I was on the Eastern Conference and they were fun because they're all it's just a Western Conference showdown. It just shows the four top teams most likely projected in the West facing off against each other. No Eastern Conference game of any type as far as the opening night matchups, unless they show out something different. But again,
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't feel sorry for the East. The
oh, I
East,
don't say. I'm just telling you, if I was on the East,
and that's what it is.
yeah,
Is
you'd be kind of pissed.
we're not trying to be derogatory towards the Eastern Conference. They were derogatory towards us as the viewer. You were supposed to be the dominant conference for the first time in years, and you flamed out as bad as some previous teams in the East, some teams that actually won a championship. You were supposed to have Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Boston being the top-notch team. And you guys were getting spanked by play-in teams. Miami, a team that looked like they didn't belong in the NBA when they met Denver. So sorry, you don't get TV time if you're going to be playing like that. Eastern Conference needs to get their act together, man. This is getting ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with the time zone over there, or Joel Embiid and his, I'll win a championship here or in the Congo or whatever rhetoric. And then, of course, Miami trying to get a player like Dame Lillard for some Wrigley spearmint gum and a couple of peanuts. Like, I mean, these guys are maybe not thinking very, very, very clearly. Boston, I'd say, they finally had to bite the bullet and get rid of one of their staples and try and see if they can upgrade things. Unfortunately, there's some noise coming out already that he's not going to be available to play in the World Cup. And now, is that going to be something we have to hear during the regular season? Because Kristaps, this is not playing in Washington and playing in Dallas. Now you're in Boston, okay? And what happened when you were in New York the last time? A lot of pressure. Pressure does things, right? You were injured more in New York, right? It's going to be pretty much the same in Boston because you're supposed to be the missing link. Are we going to hear you're more injured now? How come you weren't injured in Washington? Because you were trying to get money? Okay, well, you got your money. Now you're going to need to put up, or you know what? If he doesn't show up, this Celtic team will be worse than last year because they won't have their bulldog there anymore to cover their butt, at least on one side of the court. Philadelphia, I don't know what the hell's going to happen with James Harden. But even if he does stay,
I mentioned a trip to the Gentlemen's Club might be in this.
James Harden, that every month it goes by, he gets worse and worse athletically because he is in those places versus a gym. And then, of course, Joel Embiid, just like most stars who care about themselves, the second the ship is going down, as soon as the Philadelphia Titanic's going down, he's going to start escorting the women and children first. And then as soon as he has a way to get in there before anybody else sees, boom, he'll be in that boat before you know it. And then we have who? Milwaukee. Milwaukee was a couple plays away in the Phoenix Suns 2021 finals from probably sitting right now being one of the more disappointing teams of the last 5 years, because they should have at least 2 championships by now. And last year should have been one of them, in my opinion. I know they were injured, but guys did come back. You did have Giannis, but you had no business getting blown out by an 8 seed when you were a 1 seed. I'm just saying, man, show us Show me your relevant conference, because right now I pick the 5th seed in the West over anybody in the East right now. Hell, I picked a 7th seed last year than anybody in the East. Would I be wrong? If the Lakers had gone to the finals, you tell me they wouldn't have waxed Miami?
Yeah.
That's the burner. That is the burner. I'm not thinking about Mike Malone and Jokic and Denver and what's going to happen. The burner last year, losing in the Western Conference Finals, was if we had just were able to get a little bit more out of LeBron and AD in terms of energy, because they've been burnt out by the year. We win that series, we're smoking Miami for another title, and that's the thing that kills me.
You can even say the Suns. They were tied 2-2 with the Nuggets in that previous round, and found a way to lose that series and pretty definitively after that.
The Suns are they're the team version of the Eastern Conference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You think they're like, you know what? They got Booker and they got Ayton and they have Durant. And they have this.
They eat themselves alive.
And then all of a sudden you're like, you're doing the same thing every damn time when it matters. You got rid of Chris Paul. You got rid of this guy. You added this guy. It's the same. So at the end of the day, maybe you need to start paying attention to the guy that's there all the time. Is it Monty Williams? Okay, you changed ownerships. Still the same. You can't blame Sarver now. What is it? When are you going to clean up your act? The Phoenix Suns are the Eastern Conference version of a team. Until I see them do something, I'm not going to believe anything they do. And you have 2 guys on that team that have the constitution of a temperamental teenage gamer who loses in Diablo or something and then just flies off the handle.
Talk about Devin Booker, Joe.
Booker and now Durant. Booker. Yeah, Booker and now Durant. Durant's been that way since he started winning championships in Golden State. He knows his championships are tainted. He knows it deep down. He knows that's. Remember, Sean, I told you, hit a nerve, hit a target.
Yes,
all
sir.
That talk, every message I remember. Every time I'd hear anything about anything, I would see a post online that said, "Still more meaningful than Durant's 2 championships in Golden State." And we were talking about. I was reading stuff about knitting and how to send envelopes out, and they was putting that stuff on that stuff. So it resonated everywhere. And he still has that angst in him. It doesn't go away. So when you have that kind of distraction, how are you going to focus on winning when it matters? This is already difficult to win when you are focused. If you're not focused, you're toast.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro and also as well Magic Man Sean Grice along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We're going to wrap up our show here in the next few minutes. But again, we've got some great stuff coming along the way. Friday's show as well. Plus also looking forward to hopefully hearing Laker Tom for a Lakerholic Spotlight, because Jamie is, watch out for the cocaine bear. He's camping out. Did he say Yellowstone?
I don't think he mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't want to say where he's at, but he looked like he was having fun cooking s'mores, as it were, on National S'mores Day. Absolutely. So let's hope he stays safe. Him or his family does not get eaten up by a bear. So hopefully everything will be okay for next week. But we will try to go ahead and put out some shows on Lakers weekend. But Gustavo, thank you for going ahead and joining us. We truly appreciate you joining us. Looks like you are part of a great community yourself in the South America region. We do have fans down there also as well, all over the world right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So truly appreciate that. If you ever want our communities to go ahead and be a little bit closer to each other, just reach out to us, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. Also wanted to go ahead and just finish out the Christmas slate of games before we head on out, Magic Man. And the Christmas slate of games includes the opening Bucks at Knicks for the games that nobody on the West Coast actually sees because they're still sleeping in. 76ers at the Heat. Celtics and the Lakers. That's the middle game on the slate. The Mavericks and the Suns. And the Warriors at the Nuggets. So your thoughts, my friend. Nuggets get it made easy for winning the championship. They are not only home for opening night, but they're also home for Christmas night as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I think they have one of the better records on Christmas Day at home, Gerald. The Nuggets. I think it's one of the top 4 or 5. Yeah, there. It seems like for whatever reason they're going to get a very slanted home schedule to start out the season. Um, that may benefit them. Uh, Joe's posit and theory on the Nuggets possibly being more of a replication of what we saw with Dallas Mavericks. I think that's very prudent, given the fact that a lot of circumstances surrounding both of those teams benefited them from just not only health, but a lot of luck goes into winning a title as well. I think Joe was shooting straight on the money there with his thoughts on the Nuggets. But yeah, Joe, I think barring injury, they're a very stacked team, but they're very thin. That's that's the interesting part about the Nuggets is they are stacked about 1 through 5, 1 through 6, but any injury, there's a trickle down effect because unfortunately they've lost a very important player that they were looking to contribute, and that was Vlatko Kankar, who tore his ACL
Yeah.
playing with Slovenia, unfortunately. So they're already down a player that they were counting on. So they're going to look for help all across the board, Gerald. That's why we saw them grab Jay Huff. We had our great friend Matt on.
Moderno. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Moderno, who was saying that he
He
was
was kind of bummed.
surprised. Yeah, he was that Jay Huff wasn't more of
Well, he was retained by Washington.
yes. So I mean, he may see playing time now, Gerald, with Kankar out. And they may need to rely on him.
No, my friend. Everything's okay for Denver. They've got DeAndre Jordan. Everything's going to be okay. He got a block shot in the finals. He's all good. Everybody talks about Tristan Thompson. Why do we bring back Tristan Thompson? Okay, people talk, and you hear my response always, okay, he played 45 seconds of decent basketball. Should we go ahead and give him a award? The same thing with DeAndre Jordan. Should we go ahead and continue to go ahead and bring him back because he got a block in the finals? Give me a break. These guys are stiffs. And there's other shows out there. I heard again for the umpteen thousand time, one of our competitors, one of our rivals, posted another Christian Wood episode and Bismack Biyambo episode. Give me a break. Biyambo is a stiff over the hill that shoots 37% from the free throw line. Why should there be any discussion on getting him at all is be absolutely beyond me, Sean.
It's also beyond me as well, Gerald, because I mean, to me, all this boils down to then this is just a narrative game because to me, you all the talk of those two in particular, Blake Griffin can't find work. Nobody will sign him, and he was and Gerald, all due respect, great player at one point. He was at least a has been. Like we're talking about Christian Wood, who was a never was right now. 7 different teams, 7 different seasons. You can't tell me that he's a household name. He was on TNT after Houston won a big game, and Shaq literally said, and I quote, "I'm not familiar with your game." And instead of showing some kind of humility, some or laughing it off at least, he goes, "Oh, you're just a casual." Like that, there's your answer. There's your answer. 7 teams in 7 seasons. Could have been
So
could have been a little clever with it, Gerald, laughed it off. Like Jim Vale McGee and him got into it too after a game, and he JaVale said something that he shouldn't have said, but it at least Shaq backed off after JaVale went there. Um, you know, you got to be a man sometimes and just kind of either laugh crap like that off or come back with something quip that's smart, or just shut up because you're making yourself look bad.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. But Joe, I know that these games usually don't stick out for you this even in Christmas time, when Christmas is supposed to be the time that everybody starts waking up is what's going on in the NBA. And of course, the NBA is trying to counteract that by bringing out the NBA Cup, oh boy, earlier in the season to try and pique interest a little bit sooner. But when you look at it, the Bucks at the Knicks, kind of like that matchup is going to be interesting to see, because the Knicks are, look like a team that could really start thinking about a little bit higher prospects this season with Jalen Brunson. The 76ers, can they go ahead and repeat the same kind of late season success that the Lakers had, as far as the them getting, as far as what their situation will be like with of course James Harden and Joel Embiid. But can the Heat repeat that same kind of success? Can they have a little bit more solidified season than what they did last year, or will they be like the Lakers, who struggled, meandered through a season, then of course kicked it up a notch in the playoffs? Then you have the Celtics and Lakers, Mavericks and the Suns. Mavericks have been thought about as a team on the rise after making several changes this offseason. How will they be heading into what many feel could be the Western Conference favorite during the regular season? And then, of course, the Warriors at the Nuggets. We've spoke a lot about both teams already. So your thoughts on the Christmas Day slate, my friend?
I think Adam Silver did a really good job setting up the openers and Christmas. I think he did a very good job. I think the Knicks Bucks game is, I don't know. I start thinking about the early '70s when those two teams were relevant at the time. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that kind of get created, but those kind of rivalries it seems to be very rare. We don't see rivalries anymore. It's still the Celtics Lakers. The most interesting game is going to be the Celtic Lakers series, and it will continue to be, I believe, as long as they're contenders, because they are tied. They are tied for 17 at the moment. And I don't feel like that gets piped up enough. And maybe it was because the Lakers were terrible to start last year and they knew that they were going to be terrible until they figured out this Westbrook issue. But I think we're going to start getting a little bit more chatter now with the Lakers Celtic thing being an end game towards the end of the season. And I'm looking forward to them building that up. Whether the tournament becomes relevant, if there's a major injury from that tournament, watch out. You'll see a lot of the people out there crying about it. But the reason why these things are going to be relevant, and the reason why they're making them relevant, is there's a big gambling wave that keeps coming, that keeps building. And the
Is
league
it Phil Mickelson?
the media will pick and choose who they decide they want to call out on their gambling. The reason why they probably are picking on Phil Mickelson is because Phil Mickelson is a button-up type, family man type, and he probably has some skeletons in his closet, and anytime they can open the door a little bit to find out what's in there, they're gonna try to blast it through. What someone's gambling habits are, as long as it's not obviously connected to their sport, I don't know. I don't really care. It's like learning about their family members and what's going on in their personal lives. I don't give a rat's behind about any of these guys' personal lives. I don't really want to know it. I don't really care. I'm here to watch the sport. I'm here to watch the athletes. And I'm sure that they would appreciate somebody like us who doesn't give a crap. Because I think a lot of times we intrude in people's privacy, and that's when the athletes and the celebrities need to be backed up, when you constantly getting in the way of those things. Focus on why Phil Mickelson isn't competing, and why golf got thrown a wrench here the last year, dealing with the Saudis and dealing with that. I liked it because it gave you a chance to see who is going to sell out? That's something I enjoy more than anything. Who is going to sell out? Because you see a lot of these guys who sit there and talk about how we're here to support, and I'm going to put this little sign in my yard and I'm standing next to it. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes out of nowhere. Oh, yeah, you stand for that, huh? What if I gave you $100 million? By the way, we throw people from buildings over here when they steal stuff.
As soon as Joe was saying that, I heard Ted DiBiase's music. Everybody's got a price.
And
money, money, money,
and,
money,
and,
money.
well, it goes back to the basics. The what's your price?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to catch you being a hypocrite?
And what's your price point, right? Because then I could go next door to.
Are you going to be that guy who sits there and says, environment, and then I see you at a Lear jet flying away?
We'll see, but I'll tell you what, though, it's been a great conversation. If you have thoughts on opening money. If you have thoughts on money, but it's always here. But Joe always has thoughts on that, and of course, we described in detail our thoughts on money on this.
Hey, you brought up the gambling.
That's true. I also, also the bachelor
and
party
it pertains to the subject. All
and
this
the gentlemen's clubs.
All this support about gambling, and then all of a sudden you're noticing every other week we're hearing about somebody getting popped for gambling. So all these billion-dollar organizations are like, wait a minute, you shouldn't be doing that. Yet you're sticking that coal in that thing every day. Burn it, baby. Burn it. Burn it. Let's put every team in Vegas. Let's burn it. And you wonder why people are going nuts. You're wondering why the rants are coming, because most of these scumbags are two-faced. And I want to call them out. And I'm going to call them out until somebody shoots me in the face.
And, well, you call them out. I don't want you to get shot in the face. My God, man. Please don't do that.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't worry about any of these 30, little, in their little club, worrying about little old Joe. So you speak your mind, brother.
Okay, fair enough indeed. But it is Joe Soro at Simblades, simblades.com. Go ahead and check him out today as Ox1947, where he has more to rant and talk about always. At also LakersBall.com. Good friends, Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom, Lakerholics.com. And of course, the Magic Man, Sean Grice, who did a fantastic job hosting yesterday's team preview of the Atlanta Hawks. Go ahead and check that out if you missed it. And, we're trying to do things differently for you when we do these team previews. So please help us out by subscribing, liking, and watching these videos. It really, really does help out. I know it's not the normal Lakers videos, but come on. Do you really want to see for the 10th time the Christian Wood, the Bismack Biyambo show episodes? I mean, that's what our competition is doing right now. If that's what you want, we'll provide it for you. But please, we're trying to do things differently to just make it more fun for us and fun for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break. I'll tell you what, though, great conversation. Looking forward to both the opening night games and Christmas night games right there. If you have any questions or thoughts, please go ahead down in the comments below, or Lakers Fast Break on social media, or LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. We're trying to keep things fresh. We're trying to. So we've got more great conversations, team profiles next week. I already have confirmed 2 of them with Jennifer Lewis this time next week on the Charlotte Hornets. And I just, during the course of our show, confirmed a Cleveland Cavaliers preview. That's coming up early next week as well. So looking forward to that on Tuesday. So looking forward to that as well. But in the meantime, we're going to have great Lakers episodes talking all the Lakers' latest news and information, the tidbits that are out there. We'll always cover it for you. We'll always do a great job. We'll always provide our sense of humor, as we're doing in the chat right now. Gentlemen's clubs and all, gambling and all. I'd bet on us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.